Hey guys, Sure Midget here. So I have a pretty sweet gun to do a video on. So I am visiting my brother in good old Texas, and he has a couple guns that I haven't been able to make videos on. His P80 Glocks are at home. He was, coming back and building those when he would visit. But of course, for a plane ride, it's not easy to fly with guns. Some people say it is. I didn't want to take the chances, so basically the Glocks are staying there. But these are here because he, of course, drove down here initially. This is a SIG MPX. Now, this is the 4.5-inch barrel version, brand new. He purchased it and then moved down here, and drove. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the barrel length. This is a 4.5-inch version, and I don't make that a secret. I do not like the barrel length on this. Now, they did make a 8-inch version for a while. I don't think they're manufacturing it anymore. I think they completely discontinued it, which is weird to me. The 8-inch version just makes more sense. This is a 4.5-inch, so it's like you have like a Glock 17 barrel in here, like a non-threaded version. It is short as heck. Because I know threaded Glock barrels are 5 inches, so a non-threaded version might be like 4.6, like a little bit longer in this. So I don't know, this is just crazy short for me. It can fit in a backpack, of course, so it's got its pros and cons, but an 8-inch could as well. Now, it did come with a folding brace. He opted to put a retractable PDW style on here, which I think is better. This one's really cool. But even an 8-inch version, you can still fit in a backpack. Like my MP5 is a 9-inch barrel, and it can fit in a backpack. It's got a folding brace, so it can, you know what I mean? So these SMG type guns, pistol caliber carbines, however you want to call them, I'm just going to refer to them as SMG type guns because in the military world, that's what they are. For civilians, it's copied after an SMG, but of course semi-auto for them all. I'll start from the back. I'll start with the brace. So this is the Manticore Arms. It's logoed there. Now the brace itself is SB Tactical. It says SB on the back. So I think it's just this metal portion is Manticore Arms, and then SB makes the actual rubber piece that slides into it. I want to say this is like $300. It might have even been more. Braces are expensive because they know they can charge that much because you have to pay a $200 tax stamp and be on a government registry for an SBR, which is just an absolute joke. So they know they can charge a lot for a brace. So they're always pretty expensive. But regardless, you press the button on the top, it kind of will come out with gravity, but it's got 2 positions, 3 all the way in, and then this one, which is kind of a joke in my opinion. I don't know if you're like letting an 8-year-old shoot it, maybe, but too short, and then you pull it out all the way, and that's more like it, and it's still pretty compact. I will say it is kind of annoying to put your cheek on the metal, I guess you could call this the brace. These metal portions, it's like the brace that actually goes, you know what I mean? Like the supports that slide in, if you will. And that is made of metal. So when you actually acquire a sight picture for the red dot, my cheek is pretty much on the metal. So it's really cold to the face. Sling mount on the receiver itself, that is not on the brace. For a QD sling mount. So this pistol grip, I believe he changed. I think it had a really short one and it had like a weird angle on it. They have like really short versions for this. This is a BCM. It's pretty comfortable. I would say it kind of doesn't match it. I probably would have put a black on here if I were him, but whatever. That's just me, I guess. It does have an ambidextrous charging handle on the top here, and I figured I'd note this. It's really loose in the receiver, so when you lock the bolt pack, you see all that space in between there because this is not a standard AR charging handle. It's its own proprietary thing, and it's just really loose in there. I don't know, it's thin. I don't know why they didn't beef that up a little bit just to make it not have so much play. And the reason why I say that is because when you actually like charge it, it's like the charging handle runs into the back of the receiver. Now it is angled, so it's like ramped up, but it actually is smacking it, like it's hitting it. I mean, they designed it in a way that it kind of ramps up and so it doesn't jam or anything, but it's just weird. I figured it would probably just make more sense to actually beef it up so that it's not sagging so low. You see what I'm saying? Like beef up the bottom part so it kind of sits higher so it doesn't run into the back of it. But I'm not a engineer or firearms designer, but just something I noticed. This charging handle did come with it. It says MPX on it. It is ambi. I believe this came with it. I don't think he changed this out. Ambidextrous selector switch. It is shorter on that one side, which is nice for right-handed shooters, because if you're a lefty, the selector may rub into your finger there. It does have an ambidextrous bolt lock as well, and mag catch. So the mag catch is right here. So when you hit the mag catch, mag drops on the other side. It's right here. Now I've seen that on some like AR platforms, or at least pistol caliber. You know, they'll make that. The mag drops free. It does have some ammo in there, but I believe it's heavy enough to drop free regardless, even if it's empty. Magazine or bolt lock is interesting on here. So it's, if you can see it, it's got like a extension on it, so it is easier to like put your finger on and then rack it, but it's still not like a bad lever or anything like that. And you can't lock the bolt with the right side bolt lock. So here's what I mean. So this is the bolt lock, which is very convenient to reload and then smack that and then go back to the trigger. But you can't lock it. You see, like how I'm trying to lock it back? You can't. You have to use this one. So it's still a weird battery of arms where you kind of have to use two hands to lock the bolt, or put an empty mag in there and rack it. So still kind of that AR type of function, but you can paddle, smack the paddle or release it like that. So it does have a better battery of arms than like the MP5 for reloads. You drop the mag, put a new one in, and just smack the button right there. Super easy to do. The rail on the front is M-LOK, so he's got a couple rail covers on there, which is nice. The rubber, so that's pretty cool, very comfortable. On the top here, there's some ladder rail covers, and then a 3D printed angled grip. Winchester white box 115 grain in here now. So I think this thing is suffering from not having a flashlight. I mean, this would make a really good home defense gun, but I would suggest a flashlight. I mean, it's got everything else. You got a little red dot. It's small and compact, low recoil. It's not as loud as shooting a 5.56. So if you have to shoot it indoors, you got a 30 round mag. You'd have to do a flashlight here, and maybe a pad on the top would probably be the best idea. You'd have to get one, obviously, this is kind of a higher red dot, which I don't care for. I like the kind of shorter ones, in my opinion. He got the T1 style for this. I would have gone with a reflex that's shorter. But since he went with this, because of the height over bore, right, for close range, that's my point. But since he did do this, he could probably fit a one of those. I think even Manticore makes like a pad a rubber pad that you can put a pressure switch in, and you can just push down and hold it like this sort of deal. Now the trigger that's in here is Timney. It's pretty good. It's a really good trigger. It's straight bow. It's about, I would say, a 4 pound. I'll show you a close-up on the trigger pull later, but it's a very, very short reset. I've been very impressed with the Timneys. Awesome stock trigger. Now these guns retail for like $1,500, if not more, $1,500 to $1,800, I think. So you get what you pay for. SIG is definitely a name brand. Kind of did skip over the red dot. It is the Romeo 5 SIG Sauer. It's just a red dot. It's decent. I'm not sure how much this one cost. SIG makes a lot of different optics, and they're always between like 120 to 160, 170 is what I've seen for these styles, the T1 style. So I don't know What makes them more expensive than the other? I don't know if this one's just red dot, I think. I don't think it does red and green. So the red and green one might be more expensive. Now for the firing system, I believe this uses a short stroke gas piston. So it's like a G36, 416. It's not like an AK or an AR direct gas impingement. I think it's a piston. And I say that because I took the bolt out and it looks like there's a rod. The gas goes up into the piston and then the rod comes back, smacks the bolt carrier and cycles it. So I haven't shot this yet, so I cannot speak on the recoil, but these things are told to be very low recoil, comparable to like a MP5 roller delayed. So we'll see. I will be the judge of that because I do own an MP5. But it's a pretty cool gun. I'm just not sold on it. This is not something I would own. But it's definitely a cool option for an SMG style home defense gun, especially, or just a plinker. It's cheaper to shoot 9mm. You just want to, shoot around with it. No harm in that, but it would also be a good defense gun, especially in like an apartment, urban. Now the ammo I'm going to be shooting through it is 100 rounds of Sterling. This is Turkish-made ammo. It is 115 grain. It doesn't have the velocity reading, but it probably will be about 1150 out of this barrel. Since this is only a 4.5, it'll probably be about 1150. I don't see it shooting any faster than that. All right, so one of the cons I didn't mention earlier was the fact that these magazines are about $70. You can find sometimes, like the better websites will be $65, but it's anywhere from $65 to $75 for these, which is ridiculous. Now, MP5 magazines are really expensive too. I got the KCI, which are still steel magazines, are like an identical reproduction of the German ones, and those are normally like $40 for the 30 round, and then I have some 20s that were like 30. So between 30 and 40 for the KCI steel magazines for the MP5s that work fantastically, especially the Gen 2s. Anybody will tell you they work just fine. But authentic MP5 mags are close to the cost of this, around 70. So here's the trigger here. I'm sorry, I'm gonna rack it here. Ugh. It's a really good trigger. And one more time. Very short reset. Fantastic trigger.